Thunderbolts is a mental health movie. What happens when we push down the trauma, sadness, and loneliness? The void can consume us. I just saw Thunderbolts. Somehow I stayed spoiler free, so I was able to enjoy the movie. And I gotta say, it's actually a mental health movie. Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it, bookmark this video, jump off, and come back when you have seen it. All right, you've been warned. Let's get into it. Some of the big mental health themes from the movie, as I mentioned, are feelings of depression, trauma, and loneliness, and what happens when we suppress these feelings. There's a void in our lives that can overtake us. Even if it doesn't overtake us, we can experience purposeless lives, substance use and addiction, loved ones not wanting to be a part of our lives, and even more intensified loneliness. These are all memories the characters relive when Bob voids them. In an early part of the movie, when Bob and Yelena talk about the negative feelings creating a negative sense of self and voids in their life, Yelena says you have to stuff it down and keep going. Ooh, suppression. Suppression, unfortunately, is something that most of us do or try to do, and it actually makes things worse. The negative feelings can grow into something even more unwieldy and overwhelming. We see this later when Yelena has a breakdown and lets it all out, tears and all, to her father. She even questions the point of moving forward in life. The movie shows us what happens when we don't confront the trauma, loneliness, depression, etc. But it also shows us what we can do to help deal with those feelings. It talks about the importance of confronting these feelings appropriately instead of suppressing them, and the importance of empathy, togetherness, and community in dealing with those negative feelings and situations. There's a point in the movie where the Thunderbolt characters are talking about all of the terrible things that they have done to others, how it has weighed on them, and how it has really made them feel bad about themselves. To me, this showcases how depression, trauma, loneliness, etc., can have a negative impact on our sense of self. Bucky tells them that they can't run from the feelings, that they have to confront them, and it's really the only way they can live with themselves and forward. He doesn't say it specifically, but he's talking about the process of processing the feelings and coming to some form of reconciliation with yourself and others, just like he did with his therapist in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Big theme of the movie is loneliness, and I appreciate that being a part of the conversation, especially since loneliness has risen in concern level over the past 6, 7, 8 years, accelerated by the pandemic, no doubt. In the movie, we see empathy for other people, togetherness, and community as very helpful in addressing loneliness. Throughout the film, Yelena shows Bob a great deal of empathy. She cares about what he's experiencing. She understands it because she herself is going through it. Toward the end of the movie, when the void has taken over Bob and is voiding Midtown Manhattan, Yelena voluntarily enters the void. She knows that she'll have to confront some of her feelings and memories, but she's ready to do so because of a supportive conversation she had with her dad a little earlier. She also does it because of her empathy for Bob and others. Doing so is how she can rescue Bob and everyone else. At least that's what she thinks. During that sequence, we see Bob trying to confront the void, but not in an appropriate way. He was physically trying to beat up the void. To me, this is a representation of how we can sometimes align with a negative sense of self and self-talk brought on by depression, trauma, etc., and really be our harshest critic and beat ourselves up. When we do that, the feelings can become harmful and consume us, which is visually depicted in the scene when the darkness creeps up Bob's body. What ends up preventing that is Yelena breaking free, putting her arm around him, saying, "I'm here for you," similar to what her dad did for her earlier. Soon, the rest of the Thunderbolts come over, and they engage in this giant group hug, and that is what ultimately saves Bob from being consumed by the void. This scene depicts the importance of empathy, togetherness, and community when we're dealing with mental health challenges. So I appreciate that. Overall, it was a great mental health movie. I appreciate the various messages brought forward in the film. One, feelings of depression, trauma, loneliness can create these overwhelming emotions and voids in our lives. Two, if we don't confront those feelings, they can consume us. We need to confront them and reconcile them as best as possible, and we need to do so in a positive and healthy manner. Three, the importance of receiving and giving empathy. Four, being in community with others helps us deal with all of the feelings, especially the loneliness. So big shout out to Marvel. Big shout out to you. I appreciate you for watching this video, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.